The Case of the Morning Miseries and Millie's Wisdom. The Florida sun, a relentless spotlight even in early spring, streamed through the blinds of Eleanor Ellie, Mae Johnson's cozy Cape Coral condo. Ellie, a vibrant 76 years young with a mischievous twinkle in her blue eyes, had always prided herself on her healthy habits. Top of that list? Downing a tall, frosty glass of water the moment her feet hit the cool tile floor, clears the pipes right out. She'd often declare to her book club buddies at the Pelican Pines Community Center, but lately, something felt off. Her hands often felt like blocks of ice after her morning ritual. A subtle cramping would knot her stomach, and her digestion seemed to be moving slower than a snowbird heading north for the summer. She'd shrug it off, blaming it on getting on in years, a phrase she used with a theatrical sigh. One sweltering Tuesday, while getting her weekly perm at Curl Up and Dye, Ellie was chatting with her longtime stylist, Brenda. Brenda, a sassy woman in her early 50s with a penchant for leopard print and unsolicited advice, noticed Ellie's unusually subdued demeanor. "You all right there, hun?" Brenda asked, expertly maneuvering a roller near Ellie's ear. "You seem a little wilted, like a day-old daisy." Ellie chuckled weakly. "Oh, Brenda, just the usual aches and pains of being a seasoned citizen. My stomach's been a bit rumbly lately, and I swear my hands feel like they belong to a snowman most mornings." Brenda, surprisingly thoughtful beneath her flamboyant exterior, frowned. "You still doing that ice water thing first thing, Ellie Mae?" "Sure am," Ellie replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "Doctor always said water's good for you." "Well, yeah, water's good," Brenda conceded. "But my mama always said everything in moderation, and nothing too cold first thing. She swore it shocked your system, especially as you get a few more candles on your birthday cake." Ellie scoffed good-naturedly. "Your mama? Brenda, she probably still thinks the internet's a fad," but a seed of doubt had been planted. Later that week, during her regular checkup with Dr. Ramirez at Gulf Coast Medical Center, Ellie mentioned her morning water habit and the accompanying discomfort. Dr. Ramirez, a young but sharp physician, listened intently. "Mrs. Johnson," he said gently, "while staying hydrated is crucial, especially as we age, the temperature of that water first thing in the morning can indeed make a difference. Think of your body as waking up from a long rest. Downing ice-cold water on an empty stomach can be a bit of a jolt." He explained how during sleep, bodily functions slow down. Introducing a sudden blast of cold can cause stomach muscles to tighten and blood vessels to constrict further, something older bodies don't always recover from quickly. He shared the science behind it, how metabolism slows and circulation becomes more sensitive with age. Ellie, a woman who'd seen her fair share of medical marvels and mishaps, was intrigued. She remembered a time in her 30s when that icy jolt felt refreshing, even invigorating after a night of dancing at the Starlight Ballroom. But now, Brenda's mama's words echoed in her mind. Dr. Ramirez suggested a simple change: switch to room temperature water. Ellie, ever the pragmatist, figured it couldn't hurt. Within a week, the difference was noticeable. Her mornings felt calmer, the stomach cramps subsided, and her hands weren't perpetually icy. "Well, I'll be," she muttered to her reflection one morning. Maybe Brenda's mama wasn't so old-fashioned after all. Her friend, Walt Peterson, a retired football coach from Michigan who'd traded snow boots for flip-flops in his move to Florida, had his own morning water woes. Walt, a man of routine and discipline, would religiously chug down a 24-ounce Gatorade bottle filled with water before even putting on his reading glasses. "Gotta hydrate, Ellie Mae. That's what I told my boys on the field. Water, water, water." But some mornings, a strange dizziness would wash over him, Not every day, but often enough to make him pause during his morning crossword puzzle. He chalked it up to old age creeping in, a phrase he used with considerably less theatricality than Ellie. During their weekly coffee clatch at the local Starbucks, Ellie, emboldened by her own water revelation, noticed Walt's occasional slight swaying as he stood to refill his cup. "Walt, honey," she began cautiously, "you still guzzling that whole bottle of water first thing?" Walt, a man who usually spoke in booming pronouncements, looked sheepish. "Guilty as charged, Ellie Mae. Been doing it for years. Doc said stay hydrated." "Well, Dr. Ramirez told me something interesting." Ellie recounted her own experience. "He said drinking too much too fast can shock your system, especially when you first wake up." Walt, a man who respected logic and the wisdom of experience, listened intently. Ellie explained how the body is still transitioning in the morning, heart rate and blood pressure adjusting, and a sudden flood of water can overwhelm the system, leading to bloating, nausea, and even dizziness. Intrigued, Walt decided to try Ellie's approach. He started sipping his water slowly over 15-20 minutes, the same deliberate pace he used to employ when diagramming plays. The dizziness gradually disappeared. "Darned if you weren't right, Ellie Mae," he admitted one morning, his voice filled with genuine surprise. Just slowing down made all the difference. No fancy pills, no newfangled diets. Their neighbor, Stan Kowalski, a quiet man who spent most of his retirement tending his prize-winning hibiscus bushes, had a seemingly innocuous habit. He'd fill an old plastic water bottle from the tap each night and keep it by his bedside, sipping it throughout the early morning hours. It seemed convenient, a way to stay hydrated without even getting out of bed. But over several months, Stan started experiencing persistent headaches. His digestion felt off, and a deep fatigue clung to him even after a full 8 hours of sleep. He couldn't pinpoint the cause. His diet hadn't changed, and his annual physical came back with a clean bill of health. One afternoon, while Ellie admired his vibrant Scarlet O'Hara hibiscus, she noticed the well-worn plastic water bottle on his porch table. "That your trusty sidekick, Stan?" she asked, gesturing towards the bottle. Stan nodded. "Always there for me in the morning." Ellie, now a self-proclaimed morning hydration expert, frowned slightly. She remembered reading something online about plastic bottles and overnight storage. "Stan, honey," she began hesitantly, "have you ever thought about what that plastic might be doing to your water after sitting all night? Especially if it gets a little warm in your bedroom." Stan looked puzzled. "Just water, Ellie Mae." Ellie explained the potential for chemicals like BPA, often found in older plastics, to leach into the water over time, especially with warmth and prolonged contact. Even BPA-free plastics, she'd learned, could contain similar endocrine disruptors that could interfere with hormones. As they aged, she emphasized, their hormonal balance was already more delicate. Stan, a man who valued his health and the health of his beloved hibiscus, was concerned. He'd always been careful about the fertilizer he used. The idea that his drinking water might be contaminated was unsettling. Heeding Ellie's advice, Stan switched to a glass bottle and started filling it with fresh water each morning. Within a few weeks, his persistent headaches lessened, his energy levels improved, and his digestion felt more regular. "That little change made a world of difference, Ellie Mae," he confessed, a genuine smile gracing his usually stoic face. "Those hibiscus seem happier too, now that their caretaker isn't so grumpy." Margaret Maggie O'Malley, a sharp-witted octogenarian who lived down the street, had been managing her thyroid condition with medication for years. Her morning routine was as precise as a Swiss watch. Wake up, take her pill with a big gulp of water, wait precisely 30 minutes, then enjoy her half a grapefruit and whole wheat toast. But lately, A queasy feeling had been disrupting her otherwise smooth mornings. No changes in her medication, no new foods, yet a persistent nausea lingered. Her blood work remained stable, leaving her and Dr. Ramirez scratching their heads. During a particularly frustrating morning, Maggie confided in Ellie during their weekly mahjong game at the community center. "This darn nausea, Ellie Mae. It's enough to make a saint swear." Ellie, now a seasoned veteran of morning hydration adjustments, inquired about Maggie's water and medication routine. When Maggie described her habit of taking her pill with a large glass of water on an empty stomach, a flicker of recognition crossed Ellie's face. "Maggie, honey," Ellie said gently. Dr. Ramirez mentioned that sometimes drinking too much water too fast right after medication, especially on an empty stomach, can cause some turbulence. She explained how the sudden influx of liquid could irritate the stomach lining or affect medication absorption. Conversely, she added, washing down medication with a large glass of water immediately after a heavy breakfast could also interfere, especially with drugs meant to be taken on an empty stomach. Maggie, a woman who valued precision in everything from her mahjong strategy to her medication schedule, was surprised she hadn't considered this. At her next appointment, she discussed Ellie's insight with Dr. Ramirez. He confirmed that the timing and amount of water could indeed play a role. Maggie adjusted her routine. Instead of a large glass, she started taking her thyroid pill with just enough water to swallow it, then waited a good 45 minutes before her grapefruit. The nausea gradually subsided. "That Ellie Mae," she chuckled to herself one morning, feeling remarkably better. "She's got more medical wisdom than that fancy doctor sometimes." Their neighbor, Arthur Art Jenkins, a retired accountant known for his meticulous spreadsheets and equally meticulous health fads, had embraced the idea of intermittent fasting. He'd skip breakfast, opting for only water until noon, believing it was the key to sustained energy and weight management. Initially, Art felt a sense of virtuous discipline. He'd sip his water throughout the morning, feeling light and, well, empty. But as the weeks passed, a subtle shift occurred. He felt increasingly tired. A persistent shakiness crept in. His usually sharp mind felt foggy, and his famously sunny disposition clouded over. He attributed it to stress or a bad night's sleep. One sunny Saturday, Ellie and Maggie found Art looking particularly glum while tending his meticulously manicured lawn. "You all right there, Art?" Ellie asked, concern etched on her face. "You seem a little deflated." Art sighed. "Just one of those days, Ellie Mae. Trying this new fasting thing. Supposed to be good for you." Maggie, never one to mince words, raised a skeptical eyebrow. "Skipping breakfast, Art? At your age, your brain needs fuel, not just water." Ellie chimed in, recalling a conversation with Dr. Ramirez. "Art, honey, he said that while water is crucial for rehydration, especially after sleeping, it doesn't replace the nutrients your body needs to function, especially in the morning after fasting all night." They explained how blood sugar levels are naturally low upon waking, and relying solely on water, especially followed by coffee without any food, could further disrupt the body's balance, leading to fatigue, moodiness, and brain fog. Art, a man who prided himself on logic and data, was taken aback. He hadn't considered the nutritional aspect. He'd been so focused on the fasting part that he'd overlooked the breaking part. The next morning, Art added a small breakfast to his routine, a hard-boiled egg and a slice of whole wheat toast. The change was remarkable. His energy returned, the mental fog lifted, and his usual good humor resurfaced. "Darned if you two weren't right," he admitted, a sheepish grin on his face. Guess even an old accountant can learn a thing or two from his neighbors about the importance of a little morning fuel. Through their shared experiences and newfound wisdom, Ellie, Walt, Stan, Maggie, and Art learned that something as simple as drinking water in the morning required a bit more mindful attention as they navigated their golden years. It wasn't about drinking less water, but about drinking it smarter. Morning hydration. Key takeaways. Here's a recap of the 5 common mistakes highlighted in the video regarding morning hydration. Drinking ice-cold water on an empty stomach. This can shock your system, causing stomach muscles to tighten, blood vessels to narrow, and potentially leading to discomfort, chills, lightheadedness, or headaches. As we age, our bodies are more sensitive to such temperature extremes. Drinking water. Too fast or in big gulps. Gulping down water quickly, especially on an empty stomach in the morning, can overwhelm your system. It can lead to stomach expansion, bloating, nausea, and even dizziness as your body struggles to process the sudden influx of fluids and electrolytes shift rapidly. Drinking from plastic bottles. Left out overnight. Plastic bottles, especially older or lower quality ones, can leach chemicals like BPA and other endocrine disruptors into the water as they sit, particularly in warm environments. These chemicals can interfere with hormonal balance, which is already more fragile as we age, potentially leading to fatigue, moodiness, and bloating over time. Drinking water on a very full or very empty stomach after certain medications. Taking medication with too much water too quickly on an empty stomach can cause nausea, bloating, or heartburn, and may affect medication absorption. Conversely, drinking a large amount of water immediately after a heavy breakfast when taking medication meant for an empty stomach can also interfere with its effectiveness. Skipping breakfast and replacing it with only water. While water is hydrating, it doesn't provide the necessary nutrients your body needs for energy and cognitive function after an overnight fast. Relying solely on water in the morning can lead to tiredness, shakiness, moodiness, and mental fog, especially for older adults who need consistent fuel throughout the day. A gentle start to a brighter day. The core lesson here is that as our bodies age, they require a more gentle and mindful approach to even the simplest routines, like drinking water. What felt fine in our younger years might need adjustments to better suit our current needs. Paying attention to how our bodies respond to these small daily habits can significantly impact our overall well-being and energy levels. Your thoughts matter. We hope this video has shed some light on common morning hydration mistakes and offered practical tips for a healthier start to your day. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to rate this video on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments below. Your feedback helps us create more content that resonates with you and supports your well-being journey. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful tips on healthy aging and mindful living. Share this video with your friends and family. You never know who might benefit from these simple yet impactful adjustments. Thank you for being a part of our community. We appreciate your support and look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Take good care, and we'll see you in the next video.